From weathered back roads to the blazing edge of faith, this is where grit meets grace. Welcome to the place where truth ain't tame and stories burn brighter than the flame. This is the Gunpowder, Propane and Jesus podcast. Real talk, real calling, no polish, just purpose. Let's light it up.
A lot of times, like you were saying, we've done wrong or we try to make better and try to make up for things. But I think one of the biggest things is admitting, hey, we were wrong with it. Mm-hmm. You're never going to change what's happened in the past, right? But you got to have that serious conversation. Hey, look, I take fault for that. I take blame for that. I know I was wrong in this way, and I know it affected you. What I see this way, but how does it really affect you? And truly apologize for how it did affect them. And then, the only thing I can do is from this point on, I'm going to do my very best. Yeah. To be the man, to be the father that I should be, whether it be a father figure or just a friend, just in general. Because we can't change the past. There's nothing we can do. We just have to accept that we were wrong and admit it. Yeah. And then strive to do better moving forward. And like you said, breaking generational curses. I'm not going to mention any names, but somebody had made some notes of a sermon, and they were just talking about how good the sermon was and all that kind of stuff, and said, hey, here's my notes. That way you can kind of get an idea of it. And it was very good notes, but at the end of it, it said, I don't have to be a drunk like my dad and his dad. Mm. Yeah. It can stop with me. Yeah. So, that's, that hits home for a lot of people. Yeah. Right? And I've always told my son, both my kids growing up, I want you to have fun. Go out and have fun. But remember, make smart decisions, because every decision you make is going to have a consequence, good or bad. Yeah. We don't get to choose the consequences. We only get to choose the decision. That's right. So it just, and when people are younger, it's harder to understand that aspect than it is for an older person. But I think with breaking it down and trying to live the life for your daughter, to show her, like you said, you can't expect her to go be with a good gentleman that takes care of her and opens doors for her if you act like a douchebag. Yep. Right. Because that's what she's going to be used to. Right. So you're exactly right. You got to train them. This is what you got to do.
That's amazing, Bruce. Thank you for sharing that. Man, you put something in my mind that, and you're 100% right. The way you raise your children, like when my girls were growing up, their father or in-law, no, their grandfather, sorry, not my dad, but Vanessa's dad, he was an alcoholic. And we had to let him live with us because his wife divorced him and left him, and just, he was bad, man. Like he'd drink like 12, 13, 14 tall boys in a weekend. And then he'd just go to school, and teach on a Monday, man. It was bad, man. And he unfortunately, he passed away with cirrhosis of the liver. And, they saw how he acted, and I never drank, man. I've never took it up. Like it was, I think the way you show, your children, my problem was just, anger, not having control, not feeling respected and loved and all that stuff. It was more of a, like with my mom, when she was molested, she was up or down, And most of the time she was down and she was angry, And it's a big burden. And then with my dad, when he got laid off, man, he just lost it, because, growing up, that's what men are taught, is just your job is who you are. That's your identity, but I don't know, with my daughters, I'm not scared of them doing anything wrong, because I don't think we showed them a life of sin. You know what I mean? I think that's where a lot of stuff happens when you live a certain way and you don't fear, consequences, but I trust them. And, it's just tough with my oldest daughter right now, because she's angry at me, and it's just, cause I still get very frustrated sometimes, just because, she, when it comes to me, it doesn't hurt. Like, I don't really like try to do a lot of stuff, cause I know she's hurt by me. But with my wife, it really bugs me when she'll try to set up, she just wants to do something with my daughter, and she just, it's all about her boyfriend / fiance. And, she just doesn't want to be at home. And, it sucks, man. My youngest daughter, Lily, she's my baby. And, we've come through a lot of stuff and it's getting better, but I got a lot of work to do, and I still have my trying days, man. Like you, Aaron, man, I get pissed off, it'll drive you crazy, man. But it's all about that control. You got to learn to surrender it. But you recently, I think you told me yesterday you answered the call to preach. Is that what you said?
So, yeah.
Well, am I putting you on the spot? You didn't. Was that not breaking news just yet?
I struggle a lot with that. Evan talked this morning a lot about, the church and how now we're not foreigners and we're not strangers. And I think the thing that I struggle with that the most is I didn't grow up in church.
Yeah.
And so now going to a church and we're a pretty big church, right? There's a lot of people that come in to preach and my eyes look at the preachers that we have and I don't fit that mold. I'm not.
But just like the point Jordan's, now I can say father-in-law because he's married, said this morning, Jesus didn't choose preachers and
right.
disciples. He chose sinners just like us to be his disciples.
Yeah. So I backtracking about the beginning of 2023, I think God really started putting in my heart that there was a calling for ministry.
Yeah.
I think some of us can teach a Sunday school class or sit on a pew and be content. And then some of us, our hearts just are burdened to do work for God, whether it's, even if it's volunteering up in the young adults, like almost everybody in this room does, your heart's burdened to want to do something more than just the bare minimum. Right. And, so all of 2023, I kind of had an idea that that's what God was putting on me. And honestly, it made me miserable. Running from God, calling you will make you absolutely miserable. And I remember I talked to our young adult pastor at the church, Seth, a couple times. And, I went to a camp meet and I struggled. I wasn't living in sin. I wasn't away from God, but I couldn't praise God. I struggled to worship him. I was almost jealous looking at people worshiping at camp meeting and thinking, what's wrong with me? Why don't I feel that? Just had this heavy burden. And then we had a revival in October. And man, these revivals at Victory, there's people 30, 40 years in the church coming and getting saved. It's like it's just a move.
Yeah.
And I felt nothing. And I'll never forget, and Seth can testify to it, but the night before, it was December 16th, 2023, I texted him. I said, I need to talk to you. It was I kept going back and forth about this. I don't know what's going on, and he would tell me, so I think maybe ministry, so I'm not doing that. That's not me. And he didn't answer me for like an hour, which is pretty normal for Seth. But I texted him back and I remember being really cold hearted. I said, if you're the way people in church are, I don't want nothing. I'm not even going to church tomorrow. Like I'm just not even going to go. And I made it up in my heart that night. I said, I'm not going to church anymore. I was in a bad place. And I went to church December 17th of 2023, and Jared Dixon came in and preached, and he talked about Mary, and he was preaching on Mary being pregnant with Jesus, and he focused more on her thinking how she wasn't able to. And I'll never forget, I was sitting on a pew. I was mad at Seth. I was just in a bad place. I didn't want to be the only reason I went to church because I have my daughter and I wanted to set the right example. I didn't want to stay home. Because I always heard CT say one thing in my house, we never got asked, we never contemplated. So I knew when I woke up in the morning, I can't say, do you want to go to church? We had to go, right? So I went and sat. And Jared said I'll never forget, he said, there's some people sitting in this church, sitting under this singing, under this preaching, under this choir, and God's asking you to do something, and you're flat out miserable because you won't do it. And I knew that morning he was talking to me. So I went back in the Sunday school room, Miss Brown's Sunday school room. And for about 30 minutes, I fought it. And I finally gave in. I told Seth, I don't know how to do it. He said, it's not up to you to figure out the logistics of a calling. It's to just say yes, and God will work it out.
Surrender.
So that morning I prayed out and I called out to God and said, if you want me to do ministry with my wife, I don't know what it looks like, but I'm here. Use me in whatever way you can. And I think from that moment, preaching's always been interesting. I love, some people go to church, the music, the fellowship, the friendship. I love when it gets preaching time. It's just, there's something about it. It just intrigues me. I love it. And I knew that's probably what God was asking me to do, but even though I had submitted to ministry, I kind of felt like I still didn't want to say the word preach. I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
And up until about, I want to say November last year, I just kept telling Seth, I'm just called to ministry, but I don't, I'm not ever going to have a label on it. I'm just here to do whatever God asked me to do. And I was at church one Sunday, and Pat Feastel, that runs the mission, just walked by me randomly and said, when are you going to come preach at the mission one day? I said, man, I don't do that. I ain't a preacher.
Yeah.
I don't do that, And I told Seth about it. He said, well, just go try it. Some people don't realize they're missionaries till they go on a mission trip. And then they come home and they're like, this is what God wants me to do. So he said, just go try it one time. So I tried to get all my little I's dotted and T's crossed and make my 3 points, and everything matched with a letter. And I went down and I went to the mission for the first time. And man, I know I did terrible. I still do terrible. It's awful. But I loved going down there and doing it. So I guess I would say that's what the calling that God's put on my life. I'm starting Victory Baptist College in 2 weeks, just to be able to further the calling, whatever God has placed in my life. Even if it's to just go to a mission and speak once a month, I want to be able to do it. My dad always taught me, whatever you do it to the best of your ability. Don't feel like you did it halfway. And the last thing I want to do something halfway for is the Lord. Not even my job, but we'll do things, but I don't want to do anything halfway for God. So if I can go to college, I want to be able to do the best that I can at what He's asked me to do and be prepared for it. So yeah,
That's good.
So how long ago was it you started your business now? 3 years ago?
April 2022. Yeah. 3.5 years.
So had you not listened to God when He gave you the okay to do your business, you wouldn't be in the position you're in right now, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I remember those days. We were in young adults together and Sunday school together, and Edward told me, he said, I got a burden to go start my own thing. I said, well, let's pray about it. We prayed about it for a while, and he said, man, I thank God. I'm just nervous. I was like, trust Him. And obviously he talked to other people too, because I wasn't in my own business, and I wasn't nowhere spiritually where I needed to be. But, I gave him the best advice I could, and he did. He stepped out on faith, and he's been going strong for 3 years now.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your business and what it how you stepping out in business has allowed you to, number one, be a better father, number two, be a better Christian, and number three, help you to be able to serve more and do God's calling for your life.
Yeah. So before I started a business, ever since I became a single father, I've always had to work really, really hard.
Yeah.
You're trying to supply 2 incomes on one. But the burden with that is you're working extra hard, but nobody's at home doing anything at home either. Right. And so I always struggle with the mom stuff. I'm working 60 hours a week, but there's clothes that need to be folded and laundry and grocery lists to pick up and a house to clean. I'm playing both parts. And at the end of the day, I felt like I got everything done, but my time with my child really surrendered. It's almost like I was doing 90 different things, but they were all half done.
Yeah.
And I worked ever since I got custody of her. I had worked 60, 70 hours a week, and I was just done. The main reason I wanted to start a business was to be able to be home with my kid. I've watched a lot of people get 50, 60 years old and say, man, I just wish I'd have worked less.
Yeah.
I just wish when we talk about spending time with our kids, and at the end of the day, like I said, the pastor preached the other day about his dad passing away. He said he didn't leave me anything but debt, if anything. But you look at what Kenny really left. It was grandkids that know Jesus, right? And sons that preach now. So at the end of the day, we can work a lot, but if we look back at our life and think, man, the one thing that I should have spent time with was my child, and I didn't. I didn't want to wait till I was 60 to figure that out. And so I told God, I want to be home, but I want to serve more. Like Aaron said, we were in young adults, man, and Aaron was working too, driving trucks and doing different stuff. And there was a desire to want to be at the church more. We both loved helping cook and serving and being in the Sunday school class, just doing things. And you find out ministry takes a back seat, your kids take a back seat, all to a job that if you were to get laid off tomorrow, they don't care about you.
They're going to find somebody else.
But your ministry and your family and all those things do. So I really just said, Lord, I want to be able to be at the church when it's a volunteer day to go help do something. Or I want to be able to work a big event all day on Saturday and not be so tired Monday morning trying to go to work. I want the flexibility to serve God more, but to mainly spend more time with my kid. And I talked to Aaron. I tried to talk to everybody I could to talk me out of not quitting my job. Usually you feel like you try to find somebody just to tell you to do it. I even went to my pastor and thinking, if anybody will tell me he's a smart businessman, he'll probably like, Carroll, you shouldn't do that. Even CT was like, I think the conditions are right. So I stepped out. It has honestly been something to really grow my faith. Aaron can probably tell you, being a business owner, nothing will test your faith in God. We start to put our faith in a paycheck and a time clock when we got a job, because we know every Friday that 40 hours is going to hit.
Yeah.
But when you realize my bills next month get paid off of what God's my boss. Now I wake up every morning and say, Lord, you're the boss. If you got work, send it to me. What are we doing this week? Yeah. And you get a full reliance on knowing that he takes care of you. I wouldn't trade business ownership for nothing from a Christian standpoint. If you're operating as a Christian and you're dependent on God to pay your bills, it really grows your relationship with God, because there's times where business isn't coming in and you're struggling and you're having to pray God. And then when business, the really cool thing, I think, me and my daughter, every night before we go to bed, we always share prayer requests before we go to sleep, and we pray. And hers might be her friends or whatever she's got going. I always tell her, pray for daddy's business. This is how we go on vacations. This is how we eat. This is how we have a house to sleep in. Well, what's really cool, and you're riding down the road and a phone call comes in. It's a quote, and you talk to somebody and you hang the phone up and they call you back an hour and they book the job. And I can look at Aubrey and I can say, look, that's, the prayers we prayed. And to be able to say, every time I hang the phone up, I say, thank you, God, for another job. Because at the end of the day, that's how you pay the bills. Yeah. But it's neat to watch your kid be able to see you pray for business and pray for it, and to watch God take care of your family by the prayers that you pray and by the business that comes in. So it's all around just been a great decision. It's allowed me I wouldn't be able to go to Bible college if I didn't have a business. I talked to Seth about this way before I surrendered the call to ministry. I quit my job. And I think that was God going ahead and put me in a place, because if he'd have asked me to answer a call to ministry on a full-time 60-hour-a-week job, I wouldn't want to leave the comfort and the security of a paycheck to serve him. But he already got me out to where I could answer that. And I feel comfortable knowing that I can work and go to college and serve in ministry and be able, and he'll make a way for me to be able to do it all. So it's all around just been a great decision. I'm not telling everybody to up and quit their job tomorrow. I'm out.
I'm sure, Carroll, quit your job.
Aaron can tell you a lot of times, there's a lot of nights you struggle. I would love to say I'm a perfect Christian, but I'm not. There's a lot of nights I worry and struggle. It's slow right now. How are we going to pay the bills?
That's every night.
And so it's hard. It's hard on you at the same time, but I would rather have the stress for myself than the stress for somebody else.
Yeah. You couldn't, working for some company, they're not going to cut you time off to go to Bible school or anything like that. So yeah, that's amazing. Did you say your daughter's name is Arby's? Cause I was thinking now I want a beef and cheddar. Aubrey. Is it Arby or Aubrey?
Aubrey.
Oh man, got me hungry over here.
There is a restaurant, however, in Pigeon Forge called Aubrey's. We think that's cool. Every time we go up there for a rise or whatever, there's an Aubrey's restaurant. We never ate there, but she does have a restaurant.
We need to make it a point next time to go eat there. Yeah.
What the heck?
If it's terrible, we're going to be mad.
Yeah,
we're changing her name.
And you've never taken her there. How many? Yeah, and you go up to Pigeon Forge like twice a week, man. This is ridiculous.
Ed goes on a vacation every other week.
I know, man. I'm jealous.
My dad always told me when I was a kid, my dad used to take us on vacations with a credit card, and he would swipe that card. We would live like kings. We'd go somewhere and, man, just the best hotels, and we'd act like we were somebody we weren't. And he would always tell me, we would swipe the card. I don't want to worry about it. And then we got the next year to pay this card off and we'll go on vacation again. But he always taught me as a kid, man, I don't remember nothing I got for Christmas. I can't tell you what shoes I wore in high school. I can't remember half of the houses we lived in, but I'll never forget the trips that we took. And I try to make it a point to make a lot of trips and a lot of memories, because my daughter she don't know half the stuff I bought her. She don't remember things she's got when she's a kid, but and you can always look through these pictures and these memories that will always be with you. And so vacations are just a big deal in my house. I'll take a vacation before we do anything else. That's what I like Plus, I just like eating and traveling, right?
Hey, man.
That's good.
Nothing wrong with going and eating a steak and sleeping in a nice bed somewhere, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite vacation spot? That's what I want to.
Oh man, I think we love Charleston more than anything. It's just a
Charleston's
different.
wonderful.
It's not a touristy downtown Charleston. Is just a laid back, chill out vibe. It's old. It's historic. There's nice places to eat. It's somewhere you can just kind of go
They
have
got a lot of good restaurants.
yeah, a grown folk even my little girl, she's a history buff. She loves history. So we go and get on the Rainbow Row, or we take the little horse and carriage history tours, and it's just different than the big box vacation place. I love Pigeon Forge. I love Myrtle Beach, but everything is spend money, museums, gift shops. Charleston's cool to just go walk and eat and unwind and relax, you know.
I grew up down there. We Sullivan's Island. My
don't care.
grandparents had a
I'm just
island.
kidding.
They had a house on Goat Island. Did you ever take her to the
Goat Island?
Goat Island is what it was called. Did you ever take her to the battleship
I haven't.
in
We
Mount
did.
Pleasant? Oh,
I did
man.
not. We
I
did,
got lost. My stupid aunt let go of my hand. I was like 8.
Dummy.
The Yorktown or whatever.
The
it is,
Yorktown, yeah.
Yeah.
We
Stupid
did do
aunt.
Sumter. That was pretty cool. We did that 2 or 3 years ago. I
Yeah,
never walked in there before. It's pretty neat.
You need to take her over to Sullivan's Island. They got a historic fort over there on the edge there, man. I think it's free too, man. It's beautiful.
I
And
thought
then
Sullivan's Island was a store at Myrtle Beach.
no,
I'm pretty sure it is.
off the rails. No, it's not, Bruce.
We love Charleston. She loves Hall's Chopping. She's expensive. Whoever gets her, I hope they're ready. I mean, I think I took it too far when I said I want to teach her what to expect. I probably made it hard on
From
some
a
fella.
good man.
That's
yeah.
not a bad
That's
thing.
good.
Yeah.
though,
Yeah.
yeah.
Poor guy.
She loves Hall's Chop House. I mean, that place is,
You know,
she
my
loves
wife.
expensive stuff.
My wife will go to that place every time she goes with her mom. And the times we go, she never takes me to that place. She's like, I took you last time. I'm like, you have never taken me to this chop house, man. There's a restaurant. Oh, what's it called? Some famous restaurant. It's like corn cob or I don't know. It's something like that. But he does this fried chicken dish. I've seen him make it on some food show, man. It makes me so hungry, man. I like Charleston.
So just
delicious.
going back, you're talking about, you're making it hard for some guy for your daughter, but and that's a good thing. That's a great quality because you want her to be able to expect this and
Right.
accept nothing less. But, and you talked about it, you're how you pray for daddy's business and you get off the phone and you book that job. You're also teaching her how to work hard
Right.
and provide it for herself. So she doesn't have to depend on a man.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean,
Yeah.
that's the whole package, and that's especially in the South, for a man to have custody of his daughter, it doesn't happen. So that just kind of shows where your heart's at and where your mind's at.
Yeah, you definitely.
And I think that's the best qualities you can instill in her. Is this is what you expect, and this is how you can get it.
Right.
Yeah, you're definitely better off setting the bar high and making that next guy really have to work his butt off than
You'll have
setting
to
it
fight
low.
less of them off on your own because
Yeah.
she'll do it herself.
Yeah,
Oh, we're just failing, man. There's parents this day and age in general. I mean, you look at what the generation. Me and Aaron talked about this the other day. I can't quote what CT says, but when he talks about, what does he say? Good men create good times or
yeah.
whatever it is, and
Good time, yeah.
create
Good times,
whatever
create
that
weak
cycle
men.
is.
Yeah.
And man, you looking at it right now is scary just
Well,
to see and I think it's because people have placed so much time in careers and jobs and cars, and the whole point of looking and focusing on raising your kids is just a lost art these days.
Well, that's where it started decades ago, and it was a one job household,
Right.
the man, you work hard, you work hard, you work hard. That's all you do. That's all you do. And now it's, basically you got to have a 2-income house to live the way the world thinks you should live. And then we're letting social media raise our kids,
right.
so put a limit on that stuff, lock it out.
Right.
I know growing up, my kids, they didn't get a cell phone until they were 16, old enough to be able to drive and go somewhere by themselves. My cousins, my brother's kids had them, and that was their decision. But, well, they got phones and, I'm older than they are. I'm 12. Okay. You're with me or you're with another adult that I trust.
Right.
They have a phone. You don't need one.
That's right.
Once you get a driver's license and have a vehicle and you need a car to go somewhere, and you need that phone, then you'll get one. And they didn't get one until then.
Yeah.
I don't like being on this podcast. Y'all just make me realize how terrible of a father I was.
And everybody has their own ways of doing stuff. Trust me, I've screwed up a whole lot as a parent. A whole lot.
Those phones, though, man. If I had one of those when I was 16,
Man.
thank God all I had was a little Nokia. All you could do was play Snake.
Yeah.
I was awesome at that game.
But man, now what they can get into now, man, I can only imagine if I had that at my fingertips at 12 and 13, man, it would have been so much worse.
Yeah.
My heart feels for us. It's
you
a struggle.
can see it in society today, the effect it's had.
I've been noticing is a lot of people will, a lot of Christians nowadays will justify drinking off of Jesus turning water into wine for the wedding.
It was a different wine.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, the amount of people that's affected and sent to hell and like killed and ruined families and destroyed relationships, like what are you doing? That's like, why don't you just give the devil like keys to your front door? Like it's ridiculous, man.
A lot of us have.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, for sure.
What's your company's name? Southeastern Power Washing Pros, Fat People Sprayers. What's it called?
Southern Power Wash Solutions.
Southern Power Wash Solutions. You should check them out. I know we liked your page from Gunpowder, Propane, and Jesus Men's Ministry.
He ain't liked us back yet.
I don't think you follow us.
I hate to admit this. I don't ever check my business Facebook page. So
Terrible business owner.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Super
now.
glad I
Terrible.
referred 2,000 people to your Facebook
Terrible
business. Now
business
that I know
I get
that.
on there and I look at it, but
I sent like $200 to India, and like 14 million Indian guys liked your page for you, man. Pretty easy to get followers when you pay India.
So what all do you do, Edward? We obviously know you pressure wash.
soft washing, pressure washing, driveways, houses, roofs, even though I don't like to do them.
You love ladders though, right?
Yeah.
It's
do
like
not-
watching a leaf on a tree shaking a windstorm.
I don't like heights. Anything above 5 feet, I'm good. I hold purses at the fair. I don't ride rides. I don't do roller coasters.
I'm with you on that.
He said a whole
Listen,
person at the fair.
Even if I did ride roller coasters, I still wouldn't ride rides at the fair. Anything that they can put up in a day and take down in 30 minutes, I don't need to get on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Last thing I rode was a Gravitron, and some dude puked.
Oh, yeah. That was probably me, because that was the last ride I ever rode.
Aaron Clark
Got off and just sprayed everything.
I thought that guy looked familiar.
I don't ride
About
anything.
25, 30 years ago.
You never know who's
Lord.
putting those things together. We, I used to work at the sheriff's office, and they were building the fair, one of the ones around here locally, and we went out there just kind of checking up where everything's set up and all that kind of stuff, because a lot of deputies are out there working it in different places to be able to see the best. And it's amazing what some of those people are putting in the machines, what they're doing while they're putting those rides together. So
I always judge ride safety by how many fingers are missing on.
I don't ride
two or
any
more
rides.
don't ride.
I always see Joe Dirt when I think about it.
Leaned up against the thing, smoking a cigarette.
So do you still live in Murphy Village? Like, do you sell the gasoline, Edward Carroll? You sell the gasoline paint?
Anytime somebody asks me my name, they say, "You the Carroll? You like the Carroll Smegs?" No, that's not. Yeah, that's not my people.
Do you vacation
They
in
lay asphalt and put
in
carpet
Missouri?
Big disclaimer, not my people.
You got a 2014 truck with 2,000 miles on it?
You got 3 Lexuses in the driveway.
Thanks for listening, and remember, the smoke may settle, but the embers stay lit. This was the Gunpowder, Propane, and Jesus podcast. Stay tuned for the next part of this episode.